welcome to Horror Recapped. Today we'll be examining 2009's Exam. Beware, spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie begins with a depiction of 8 people individually dressing up for their day. Later on, it is revealed that they are candidates who are applying for a job as they make their way to an examination hall. There, they are seated with nothing but a piece of paper and a pencil on each of their desks. Not long after, a man who introduces himself as the Invigilator walks in. He goes on to give them a briefing, explaining the rules of the application test. These rules include the following. There is but one question before each candidate, and only one answer is required. Any attempt to communicate with the Invigilator or the guard at the door would lead to immediate disqualification. Intentional or unintentional spoilage of one's paper, as well as any attempt to leave the room, would also lead to disqualification. After stating these rules, he asks if they have any questions. On getting no response, he starts an 80-minute stopwatch, asks them to begin, and leaves. Each of the candidates turns over their paper expecting to see the question, but is perplexed to see a blank sheet. One candidate tries writing on her paper, but is immediately thrown out by the guards. The others see this and remain mute to avoid disqualification. But this doesn't last long, as one of the applicants points out that the Invigilator's rules said nothing about them communicating with one another. This prompts them to begin talking, and they agree to help each other figure out what the question is. One candidate proposes they do not use their real names in conversations, and instead assigns them nicknames based on their physical characteristics, such as their race or hair color. He ends up naming them Black, White, Brown, Blonde, Brunette, Dark, and to a candidate who had said nothing since the start of the exam, Deaf. Brunette proposes a theory stating that the question may be on the paper, but invisible to the overhead halogen lighting. So, she gets them to all try viewing their paper using the side lighting, which is non-halogen, but that does not work. Soon after, Black proposes that they use an alternative light source like UV or infrared, as those are better at revealing hidden images. They look around for such a light source and find one, but struggle to locate its switch. However, the group soon figures out that those are emergency lights that would only turn on when every other light source in the room is compromised. This prompts them to break all the lamps. In doing this, the emergency lights switch on, thus revealing ultraviolet blue lighting. They all view their question sheets using this, but fail to see anything. However, Dark points out that the top part of the light source isn't lit, and on investigating, Black discovers that those are infrared lights. To switch it on, they once again break all the lamps, but this time it's the UV ones, and sure enough, it reveals the infrared. They try viewing, but once again, it proves to be a fruitless attempt. Soon after, Blonde proposes the question may be revealed if they scribble on their paper, but Black warns her about the spoilage rule, reminding her that was the reason why the candidate from earlier was disqualified. A frustrated White points out that the Invigilator's exact words were, "Do not spoil your paper," but never mentioned anything about spoiling someone else's. Stating this, he takes the question paper of the disqualified candidate, scribbling on it with a pencil, thereby proving his theory while disproving Blonde's, as the scribbling reveals nothing. White cuts the paper into various parts and asks them to all wet it, using their bodily fluids, but this also proves to be a failed attempt. The stress of the running time gets to them, and they start bickering. However, they soon stop when Deaf, who has been mute this entire time, starts muttering some words in French. Dark translates, but his words don't seem to be of much help. The group ultimately ignores him and begins a discussion on what they know about the company. Brown and White reveal that they know neither the name of the company nor the CEO, much to the surprise of others. This prompts Dark to explain to them She tells a story about a viral pandemic that broke out 10 years ago, which killed many young people. After a while, a medical researcher discovered and patented a virus suppressant for the pandemic, securing his company as the largest player in the health industry. This talented researcher is the CEO and also the one hiring them. Later on, upon questioning, Burnett reveals that her partner is infected with the virus but can't afford the supplement. Hence, she applied for the job to get the discount that is offered to employees. White taunts her about this, citing that the company is probably watching, and her confession would cause her to be viewed as a liability. However, Burnett disagrees, stating that, if anything, her predicament is an asset as it proves that her resolve is strong. To buttress this, she heads to the guard and searches him as the invigilator said nothing about having physical contact with the guard. She finds a lighter in his pocket and proposes they use it to trigger the sprinklers. Black suggests that it's useless as they already tried bodily fluids and those already contain water, but Burnett counters that the sprinklers may have been filled with something else besides water. On hearing this, Black agrees as he admits that the area looks like a dark room for developing pictures, proposing that if the sprinklers contain chemicals, they just may reveal a hidden message. When the group unanimously agrees, Burnett is handed a paper by White, which she lights up, triggering the sprinklers. When the sprinklers activate, they soon discover that their hypothesis was wrong once again, as the oozing liquid is just water. A disappointed Burnett looks at her table and is shocked to find her paper missing. She frantically asks if anyone is with it, but soon discovers that White blindsided her by giving her paper to light up. With this, the guard throws Burnett out. Soon after, White also gets Def disqualified by coercing him to tear his paper. This annoys Black, who punches White, knocking him out. With Brown's help, Black manages to tie White to a seat. When White regains consciousness, he confesses that he's actually infected with the virus and would need to take his drug immediately, as it must be taken promptly every hour. White begs Black to help him reach it from his pocket. After some persuasion, Black obliges, but doesn't find any drug there and assumes he's just lying as White passes out again. However, not long after, White starts convulsing. Seeing this, they believe him and find the pill, discovering that Brown had stolen it. When Dark tries giving White the medication, Brown slaps it out of her hands. The capsule falls into a vent, which compels Dark to plea via the CCTV for them to save White. But this action breaks the no communications rule, thus leading to her disqualification. Meanwhile, Blonde, who has been struggling to get the pill out, manages to do so using her hair clip and gives it to White just as he starts nosebleeding, thereby saving him. When White recovers, in Black, he forces Brown and Blonde to leave the room and then proceeds to shoot Black. When the stopwatch timer elapses, White speaks to the camera and is disqualified. Then it is revealed that Blonde kept one leg in the entire time. As she makes her way back inside, she is followed soon after by Def and the Invigilator. Blonde approaches the Invigilator and provides the answer, no, thus revealing that the question was actually stated at the start of the exam by the Invigilator when he asked if the candidates had any questions. It is disclosed that Def is the founder of the company who went undercover for the test. The Invigilator congratulates her on passing the interview, but Blonde states that she has lost interest in the job due to the unethical interview process as she looks at a bleeding Black lying on the floor. However, the Invigilator reveals that the gun's bullets are non-lethal, as they contain a cell-regenerating pill. No sooner does he finish this statement than Black wakes up, thus confirming it. Blonde, on seeing this, has a change of heart, approaches Def and extends her hand for a handshake. The movie ends as Def takes her hand, signifying that she is now hired. That's gonna wrap up this recap. We hope you have enjoyed it. If so, please click the subscribe button with notifications turned on so you don't miss a single video.